I'm Donna Krizik, and I'm the Director of Partner Marketing and Programs here at Acumatica. I wanted to share just a little bit of my story with you in the hopes that it would illustrate how much impact having an Acumatica practice can have. I come from the VAR channel. I spent 12 years handling marketing for two different VARs. One was very small and one was mid-sized. So I know the challenges that you face. It's one of the reasons that I joined Acumatica, so I could help all sizes and shapes of partners be successful in their marketing efforts. The VAR that I came from was a longtime Dynamics partner, and when I joined them, one of the owners said, "My phone rings every day for Dynamics GP," which was great, but they wanted to expand into CRM and SL at the time. So we were focused on doing that, and we acquired a company that had Acumatica as a practice. And full disclosure, they really just didn't embrace Acumatica first. They were maybe paying a little bit of lip service to it. Oh, sure, you can bring that product with you. But then about 3 years ago, something happened that changed things dramatically. As a partner, we went from selling 30 plus net new GP deals to selling fewer than 10 to selling fewer than 3 in a matter of 3 years. And if we had not had that Acumatica product and practice slowly building momentum, we would have been faced with some truly life-changing decisions. I don't know that we would have made it as a company. Now, this is my perspective as the marketing director and not as an owner, but in my mind, Acumatica saved our business and allowed us to offer a modern ERP solution that is incredibly flexible and powerful. During this unsettling time in the Dynamics world where our whole business was changing, we managed to become Acumatica Partner of the Year twice, and this partner continues to thrive. Some of my friends from this partner have told me, we don't talk much about Microsoft anymore. Now, that doesn't mean they don't sell and support Dynamics. They do, but they spend their time, their money, and their other resources on Acumatica. It's just a little perspective from a former partner channel person as we talk about how we buy and how we sell. That's it for me. I'm going to turn it over to Kent Richardson from our enablement team, and after his presentation, I'll be back with the next steps. Take it away.
Thank you, Donna. Let me begin by saying a couple of things. First of all, I want to thank everybody that's joined us today for your time. I know it's the end of the month, it's the end of the quarter, and you're probably have a stack of emails from your publishers saying, "What's coming in? How's it looking? Is that deal gonna come across the finish line?" And that's part of sales. It's what we've signed up for. It gets us excited, but it's also one of those challenges that we have to reconcile all day, every day, not just at the end of the month, not just at the end of the quarter. So we're going to talk about what's changing in the marketplace from a sales perspective as being communicated by customers. And I think that's really important. And I give Acumatica, even though I work for Acumatica, I give Acumatica a lot of credit that we have people like Donna who really bring the voice of the partner into the Acumatica enablement team. For those that don't know me, I started as a Microsoft partner. I've been a partner. I've walked a mile in your shoes. I've had to take questions and pipeline calls from publishers. So we understand, I think, what it means to have a good relationship with your publisher, and we're always working to have a great relationship with our partners. So thanks for being here today, and I hope you find today's content interesting and beneficial. So I'm going to begin with some slides from Bob Anderson at the Gartner Group. I had the real distinct pleasure to sit on a panel with Bob on the future of ERP in December of 2018, and Bob, along with some other publishers at a conference, and talk about the changes and challenges that we see coming in the ERP marketplace, specifically the mid-market ERP marketplace. And these are being driven by customers, and I thought they were very interesting and relevant. So I wanted to lead with them. What are customers looking for today? They're looking for instant availability everywhere. they're also looking for something called a digital business platform. And I encourage everyone to take a quick look at this Harvard Business Review article from August 2017. This is something I appended to Bob's comments. It's a great article about what software companies and partners need to do and realize as they look at technologies. It's no longer just good enough to have, you know, a general ledger account code that can be subdivided into certain segments and do reporting off those sub accounts. It's no longer just about the features and the functions. It's about having a platform where you can extend the investment in technology that you've made. And there's a great Harvard Business Review article about that. I also think it's interesting that they want access over ownership, the ability to access their technology and their data 7/24 by 365, and that they're certainly looking for successes measured by outcomes. And what I believe that means is it's no longer just good enough to be a partner and a value-added reseller that represents a certain technology. And this is publisher agnostic. I don't care if it's Microsoft, Sage, SAP, NetSuite, or Acumatica. It's no longer good enough to just be an expert in the technology that you represent. You need to be an expert in delivering measurable outcomes. How do you take the technology that you have and produce a positive economic impact for the prospects and customers that you support? And Bob had a really interesting comment that he says, you know, the V in value-added resellers, the definition of value is really continuing to change and accelerate in its change. So what do VARs need to do to stay relevant in the partner community and the prospect community? Well, they've got to innovate. You know, they've got to be faster to market. They have to differentiate themselves and create competitive advantages. They have to build new business models, and they can do that on a platform. They have to become more efficient. They have to really focus in on best practices and sell to those best practices. They have to optimize the processes, both internal that they execute upon and external that they deliver to their customers, and they have to continue to strive to lower costs, both internally and to their customers. Bob is a big believer in that SaaS changes everything in our world, and I think these are very interesting statistics that Bob shared, and it's a bit of a busy screen, but if you look at the very bottom of the screen, draw your eyes there. He's talking about small companies that are 1 to 99 employees, mid-sized companies that are 100 to 1,000 employees, and then larger employees. And I think it's very interesting on the left-hand side of this equation that what you see here is that small companies' cloud or SaaS application growth is over 21% year over year. I mean, this is what we're looking at, guys. This is where the market is going. Mid-sized companies, SaaS application growth, 15%. These are customer metrics, not publisher metrics. You know, the converse of that is the on-prem market continues to shrink. We do not believe the on-prem market is going to go away. There are always going to be specific requirements and specific customers that require or believe they require to be on-prem, but the message and the model and the market is moving to software as a service. Acumatica, as everyone on this call I hope knows, we are 100% born in the cloud. Every single line of code that we've written, every single line of code that we've developed has been meant to be deployed in a software as a service cloud model. The last slide from Bob and the Gartner team is that software as a service changes everything, okay? And it does allow for the value-added reseller community and the publisher community and the customer community to hit this giant reset button. The products are being reset. For those of you that are Sage and Microsoft partners, you know you're seeing it. If you're an SAP partner, SAP and Oracle are rewriting their applications from the ground up to be delivered in a software as a service model. Not just Oracle NetSuite, but Oracle applications as well. SAP has rewritten their MySAP, R1, R2, R3, whatever historical reference point you have with SAP, their new product suite of SAP S4 written on HANA is specifically designed to go to the cloud. Everybody's going there. Get ready to come along for the ride. That changes, if you look at the very bottom one, your revenue model. The subscription, it is recurring revenue. It is an annuity. It's a different revenue model, which requires a different sales process that we're going to talk about today. And it does require a different approach to professional services that is probably a topic for another webinar or another conversation. For those of you that aren't aware, one of the things that Acumatica has invested heavily in is what we call our practice owner and executive workshop, where we have put together, very detailed 3.5 days worth of content on helping partners navigate that elegant transition from that traditional, I'm an expert in the technology I represent, on-premise professional services value-added reseller, into this new model of software as a service, annuity, and subscriptions. So let's talk about the meat of the content today is, customers buy differently today. We're probably all aware of this, and this is probably going to serve as hopefully a gentle reminder and not necessarily a thump upside the head on how customers have changed the way they buy. But I'm going to challenge you to think about the way we sell, which really hasn't moved along with how customers buy. Let's face it, the world we live in has changed. That little graphic down on the bottom of the United States covered in light is to demonstrate a connected world. I got news for you. We do it as consumers. Our customers do it as consumers. 70% of the buyer's journey is completed before they even reach out to you. They're doing the Google, as my parents would say. They're all over the interwebs, okay? They're doing research. It used to be we were the Google. They would pick up the phone and call us because we were the keepers of the knowledge. Not anymore. And they're looking to disqualify you. They don't want to waste their time. If they don't see what they're looking for or can't find you in what they're looking for, you're out. You're never going to get that call. According to Rocket.com, 60% of their research will be done before they, buyers will conduct over 60% of their research before making a significant investment. They'll consume at least 4 pieces of content before they even contact a potential vendor. So I challenge you, what 4 pieces of content do you have on your website today that people are searching for that they can consume that are going to separate you from your competitors and make you easier to buy from in the market that you serve? It's all about self-service. So how much self-service are you providing the markets that you service? Nurture takes on a whole new meaning, okay? They're going to nurture themselves. They're going to keep coming back to your website if they like what they see, and they're going to keep downloading that content. They're going to keep nurturing themselves and participating. The message here on these first 3 slides is they're looking for you. We sort of kind of know what they're looking for. Do we have the content and the self-service ability to give them what they need in the way that they're consuming and buying information today? I will tell you, I spend a lot of time on partner websites, and this is an area where we can all improve. Forrester reports that a typical buyer will consume on average 11.4 pieces of digital content. Again, I ask you, if the first 4 are going to get you in the door, what do the next 11 look like? They're going to help them make that purchasing decision. Now, Kent, we're all the way up to 15 pieces of digital content. White papers, blogs, videos, landing pages. Challenge yourself. What do I have out there? This shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody, I hope. I want to draw your attention to the second to last bullet there. In the past, we managed prospects through a sales cycle with specific stages. We were the gatekeepers. We were the ones that took the customer by the hand and we led them through a sales process. We controlled the information they saw. We decided when to give them information. That is no longer the case. the customer, thanks to the internet, is in complete control of the buyer's journey and their purchasing decision. I hope nobody disagrees with that. So what's a customer's preferred time frame? This is really interesting. Okay? Customers will say that speed is a primary requirement. 85% of customers surveyed say they have a 6-month timeline or less. Only 15% say they have a timeline 6 months or greater. Of course, small, medium enterprises say they need to go a little bit faster because the longer this drags out, the more people get taken away from their day jobs and the longer the impact has to their business. So to what extent does our sales methodology lengthen the sales process? What does everybody think? Customers think, 87% of the customers surveyed say, we're making the sales cycle too long. How can that be? We think it's them. They think it's us. Well, why is it us? I'm going to answer that question as we move along. The way customers buy have changed. Who do they want to work with? LinkedIn Business. They understand my company's business model. Is a subject matter thought leader. I want to be very careful. Number 2 is a subject matter expert thought leader, not about the technology you represent, but about the outcomes and value the technology you represent can provide that customer. If you invest in XYZ technology, I'm going to be able to improve this, reduce that, demonstrate this economic impact. It's not, I've got the best Microsoft dexterity coders on the planet, for those of you that are Great Plains aficionados, okay? But it's really the subject matter expert of the industry that you support. And you provide valuable consultative and education tools in a self-service model, and you know their company's products and services. It's not about what we know about ourselves, what we know about a publisher, it's what we know about them and what value we can produce for them. So ask yourself, how easy are you to do business with? How much self-service is available in your company? By industry, by business process? Is it quantifiable? I'm a big believer in having all of you. And this is an interesting conversation. I'm going to do a little bit of a tangent here. I believe partners do not leverage the investment that they so have richly earned of mining their customers for the value that they've been able to produce. Think about it. You've spent years and millions of dollars generating satisfied customers. How often do you go back and really challenge them and challenge yourself to quantify the value that you've generated for them, and then use that quantifiable value as content to help you sell more business? I would say we do a poor job in that area. And it's very unfortunate because you guys have earned the right to go back to your happy customers and mine those customers for those data points that you can use marketing going forward. Do you have questionnaires, tools, and exercises and other homework for your customers to fill out? If we know what they're looking for, and we do you focus on what they want? Have you become an expert in the industry that you're pursuing? Or are you just a generalist? Do you just wait for the phone to ring like Ghostbusters and say, we've got one, and then respond accordingly? This week, I'm a manufacturing expert. Next week, I'm a distribution expert. The week after that, I'm going to be a healthcare expert. The week after that, I'm going to be an e-commerce expert, based on any lead that comes through the door? Or are we taking a very disciplined and purposeful approach of going back to our customers, find out what it is we really do well, and then targeting that market, that industry, or that business process, and putting together self-service content that our prospects can go to and get to help make it easier to buy from us? I will tell you the resounding answer from every Acumatica partner that we've taken through the workshops is, these are really good ideas. I think we should probably start doing this. So let's stop and take some notes. There's 3 things you need to focus on. First, You need to differentiate by industry or on business process. There's too many websites out there with partners that have the drop down that says solutions. And it says Microsoft Dynamics, Sage 300, Acumatica. That's all you list. You don't say that I'm an inventory expert, or I'm a sales expert, or you're not differentiating yourself. You're just advertising the solutions that you represent. You need content. Now, this is a daunting task, okay? Blogs, white papers, surveys, reports, industry analysis. Don't think you have to do everything on this list tomorrow. You can't. Perfection is the enemy of progress. Pick one or two things. If you put 3 things of new content out there in the next 90 days, you know what? That's 3 pieces of content you've never had before. But you have to start somewhere. Don't wait. Get started on your content journey as quickly as you can. And that content needs to cover the executives that you're going to sell to, the line of business people you're going to sell to, and the influencers you're going to sell to. Influencers I loosely define as, those people in technology, the MIS director, the IT director. I challenge partners all the time to have a grid, a 3x3 grid of 9 names. And I say to them politely, if you don't have 5 names in your grid, you probably don't understand that prospect well enough. You probably don't understand who's buying, who the buyers are, what the influencers are, and you probably don't have a deal. If you focused in on the one person that's giving you the one message, you probably don't have a real deal. Do exceptions occur? Yes, they do. But when you think about developing content, it has to be at the executive level, the line of business level, and the influencer level. So the good news is, it's not you guys, it's your content. And I mean that. You guys are successful, talented business people that have run successful, profitable businesses for years. You have the content out there in your install base of customers. You just need to go get it and then package it and put it on your website. We have a whole separate section on like-minded marketing where we ask people to go back to their 3 happiest customers and start building this marketing case. So if we can all agree that the way customers buy has changed, maybe the way we sell needs to change. So let's take a quick look at sales content that we're putting out there today. Buyers, what's most important to them? Product info, features, and functions. But not just Acumatica can do this, Acumatica can do that, Microsoft can do this, Sage can do that. It's not just the general feature and function of how to do something, it's the economic impact of what those features, functions, and business processes can produce. Demos. Buyers love demos. We think they're less important. Why do we think they're less important? Because we all do the same demo. We all do the same show up and throw up demo where we show up and say, here's how you navigate, here's how you create a user-defined field, here's a dashboard. There's no economic impact or specific industry value to the product demonstration we show in a general environment. Now, I'm sure there are partners on this webinar today that are doing it completely differently than I suggest. Kudos to you, keep doing it, but most of the demos I see are very general in nature and they're not very specific and they don't drive to an economic impact. I find it interesting that case studies, while our good friends in marketing think they're really important, seem to be less important in the mind's eye view of the customer. Same thing with peer testimonials. So again, if I were to focus on the top 2 things, product features and functions and demos, as an industry expert, I would probably be way ahead of the game. One last comment on how they buy. I'm not going to go through this slide line by line or element by element, but please draw your attention to the very bottom yellow circle. Most of the time, these guys are out on the internet. They're on Facebook. They're doing the Google. They're on LinkedIn. They're asking people. As soon as you give somebody a case study, my favorite fake customer name is Schmuckatelli and Sons. As soon as you say Schmuckatelli and Sons is really happy with this, what do? They go to LinkedIn and see if they know anybody at Schmuckatelli and Sons. And they may even ask somebody. They may send them a message. They're on social media. They're talking across the organization. The only time they really spend a huge amount of time on the Acumatica website is at the very end when they start to decide to implement the application. Moving on. So, since we can all agree the way they buy has changed dramatically, the way we sell has not. The concept of value has changed dramatically. We talked about that a little bit earlier. Prospects value their time more than anything. They have day jobs. Do not give prospects information they can find on their own. Create self-service assets. Help them buy from you. It has to be an integral part of your new sales methodology. If you get a prospect as a durable goods distributor, what's the first thing you do? Do you send them to your website and have them view a detailed product demonstration on how your technology solves the 4 or 5 or 3 most critical challenges facing a durable goods distributor? Do you have a questionnaire that helps them define that? Do you have a white paper that speaks to that? How inventory turns and how managing the cost of inventory can improve their profitability? If you don't have that stuff, you need to start thinking about that stuff. Don't spend time on brochures or other literature they've already seen on your website. I love this second one. Create a Friday afternoon demo and send them to it. This is where your general demo resides. Every Friday afternoon, you should produce a overview demo of Acumatica and invite all your prospects to it and see how many of them attend. Here's where you do your dashboard, your navigation, your user-defined field. Here's where the general introduction to the technology you represent resides. The demo you show the customer on site or electronically, person to person, as it were, is the one that's going to be very specific to that customer that drives an economic impact. But use this as a qualifier. If they don't show up to the demo, are they really interested? If they don't do any homework or download any information from your website, are they really interested in looking for a solution? I would suggest politely they probably aren't. It used to be that we were responsible for generating awareness, interest, desire, and action. Today, they get that from every place else but us. Or another way to think about that is this. It used to be we would show up, shake hands for every meeting for the most part. We would drive to the prospect site. We would do the discovery meeting. We would drive to the prospect site. We would do the product demonstration. We would drive to the customers are saying, we want to do as much of that over the internet as we can. This is what customers are saying. I want to be very clear. There is a time and a place for face-to-face meetings. But when you're doing qualification and building your pipeline and sorting out what prospects are really interested and what they are interested in, this needs to be done as remotely as possible. The cost of sale has to come down, and you have to get very specific when you go on site. So when you go on in a completely laser-focused approach, you go on and say, Mr. Customer, these are the 5 things we heard that were most important to you, and here's how our product, our technology, and our company addresses those 5 specific things. And if we agree to that, and we can demonstrate that, then we should move forward together and formalize our relationship. Would you all agree that the way they buy has changed? I hope so. Can you see that most of the bullets in this section are actually suggestions for changes to your sales methodology? I hope so. Would you agree your sales methodology needs to change? I would hope so. Now, we spend days going through the sales methodology and the changes that need to happen here. This is a high-level overview designed to pique your interest in the workshops that we do and becoming an Acumatica partner. When are you going to change your sales methodology? Content-based. What are you going to send them after the first call? We all send them a thank you email, right? Hey, thanks for your time today, Kent. Really appreciate it. It was, nice to hear this, that, and the other. Does that really drive it forward? You really need to think about what you're sending them after that first call. How many videos and demos have you created and packaged? What are your reasons for the call? Not to just check, hey, how's it going? Any questions? I love this part of the sales methodology. I call it the golden retriever approach to sales. And what I'm suggesting here is that we're really good when the customer says, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you do this? What do we always say? We absolutely always say yes. So they throw the ball, we go grab it, drop it at their feet, and hope to get a pat on the head or a scratch behind the ear. The golden retriever approach to sales. We keep doing it, we keep doing it, we keep doing it. We're really good at it. We finally get to the point where we deliver a final proof of concept and deliver the proposal. It's the last tennis ball. Okay? And once we drop it at their feet, we wait. We wait, we wait, we wait. And we hope that we're the one they scratch behind the ear last. That's not a good approach. We need to take charge of the sales cycle and be very specific about what we're doing. Why do we sell like this? Well, because we're professional services organizations. When we say yes to everything, it adds to the cost of the project. It puts more billable hours in the statement of work. Okay? Makes the project less predictable. More change orders, more hours, more commission. I got a lot of partners that will say to me, Ken, why is that a bad thing? I'm a professional services organization. The more hours I have, the happier my consultants are. The higher my utilization rate, the more billable hours I have, the better it is for me. I got news for you. Your customers don't want that. Your customers want fewer hours, faster time to value, lower total cost of ownership, which means you have to deliver, as we talked about in the Gartner slides very early on. You have to continue to reduce costs. You do that by focusing in on industries where you know inside out and upside down exactly how much it costs you to deliver the value. And then you package it and you have the customer subscribe to it. Very interesting slide here from Deloitte. Yeah, Ken, it's a blue bar, big deal. No. So the first time that companies purchase ERP software, price is the driver. Why? Because we all look the same. In the mind's eye view of the customer, because we all do the same demo, we all do the same discovery, we're basically all the same. So the only thing they can use to separate us is price. So we force them into using price as the primary decision maker. The second time around, price falls all the way to 5. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. The second time organizations or individuals purchase an ERP solution, it's the level of support provided by my reseller partner and their track record of performance. It's not about price. Price is always going to be important. I'm not saying it's not. So this is really interesting, and it builds on that last slide. This is a challenge we face each and every day. And why do we face this challenge? Because we allow it, we support it, and we confirm it. Whether we like it or not, every single customer has this. They have a little spreadsheet that they use to evaluate the technologies they're considering. Everybody has a corporate presentation. Everybody has a product demonstration. Everybody has an implementation estimate. Everybody has a license cost. Everybody has a support cost, on and on and on. We all look the same, and at the end of the day, all they do is sum up whatever the cost elements are and make a decision. What we need to do as partners, now this happens to be an Acumatica partner, is we need to inject things into the evaluation criteria that only we can do because we are such experts in the industry that we market to, the customers we're pursuing, and our knowledge of the technology we represent. I don't care if it's CRM. I don't care if it's inventory management. Whatever it is that you've been able to gather from your customers, the economic impact that you produce. If you invest in my business, Mr. Prospect, I'm going to be able to reduce your inventory this much, improve your margin that much, improve your sales this much. And these are the customers, and these are the processes, and these are the technologies I use to produce these quantifiable, demonstrable results. Because if you do that, then this evaluation of what cost is becomes less relevant. So who do decision makers and end users buy from? If you look in the upper right-hand column, quadrant of this slide, it's the supplier has widespread support across my organization. That's your grid. Do I know 5 people in the customer, an executive, people in line of business, people in technology? And those people across those spectrums of the business support my candidacy within the customer. Okay? They're easy to buy from. They educate me on issues and outcomes. This is who people buy from. This is how we have to sell. This is what our customers want. Do we ever ask these questions? If you could change 3 things in your business, what would they be? What's the single biggest opportunity you see in your business? What's the single biggest challenge you see in your business? Some people are nodding their heads going, yeah, I do this. Okay. What are the 5 most important results you will need to see coming out of this project? Has anybody asked that question? And then ask your customer to force rank them on the whiteboard. If you capture those 5 things, you go to your customer and you say, Mr. Executive, what's number 1? Mr. Line of Business, what's number 1? Ms. Technology, what's number 1? Make the customer go to the whiteboard. When the customer starts arguing and the customer goes to the whiteboard to have this conversation, you win. How will you measure the success of this project in dollars? How many times do we let this concept, why are you looking for a new ERP system? We need a new system. That's not good enough. What sort of economic impact and value is this decision going to drive for you? And how are you going to measure it? Promise me, please promise me, you will never ask these questions again. I sit on sales calls with partners all the time as a coaching feedback mechanism. And we're all familiar with budget, authority, need, and timing, the BANT qualification. And I hear salespeople with a high degree of frequency do this. What's your budget? Are you the decision maker? When do you want to go live? You know what? Every other partner is asking these same questions. So you look, walk, talk, and act exactly the same. You have not differentiated yourself or separated yourself from the competition. What are your pain points? What keeps you up at night? Tell me about your business. I love that one. So you've made no effort whatsoever to understand their business, and you say, tell me about your business. What was it going to take to earn your business? Do you value quality or price? These are real questions I've had to give feedback on to partners when they're conducting sales calls with prospects. Promise me you won't ask these questions, or you'll ask them differently. For those of you that aren't familiar with me, I'm a bit of a sales nerd. I'm a big believer in educating myself about sales processes and sales methodologies. I go way back in the Wayback Machine to Miller Hyman strategic selling and filling out blue sheets. I've done solution selling, spin selling, all that good stuff. I still fundamentally believe that Stephen Covey's book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, is one of the best sales books on the market, because you have to seek to understand before being understood and begin with the end in mind. So, I believe that's a great book, but there's a new book out there called The Challenger Sales Model. And I would encourage, if you're a sales professional or a sales manager, a sales leader, a field sales rep, get this book and learn to become a sales challenger. You will be so much more successful, and you will be so much more in sync with how customers buy today, because it's all about solving their problems, not representing the technology you happen to have in your briefcase. And with that, I'd really like to close my piece of the conversation today. I hope that what's come through loud and clear is that the voice of the customer is the market is changing. How we buy is changing. But where we buy from isn't changing as quickly as we would like. So let's make sure we move along with the market expectations, and we move along with our prospect expectations. Look forward to talking to everybody. If you have any questions, please let us know. Thanks for your time, and I'll turn it back over to Donna.
Thank you, Kent. That was fantastic, as always.
Good.
So for follow-up, we have Noelle Blockson, who I'm sure you're familiar with. If you have questions about becoming a partner, you want more information, just need to connect with Noelle anytime, and she'll make sure you get taken care of. I think we have some questions